An unexpected error has occurred.
Oh.
Let's try that again. There we go. Live stream.
Hello, everybody. How are we?
Hi, guys. Got it. Live streaming in here with all the game changes. It's always a bit of a fun thing to do at the end of a secret sauce session, right?
Yes. Feeling pumped after a great piece of learning and interaction with everyone that was on.
Especially after coming out of a week of being a little bit ill, so you're on fire.
Yeah, dragging myself out of bed. No.
Sometimes got to do it. You got to do it.
Way it works.
So today,
so exciting.
Communication, hot topic, right?
Massive topic.
Communication is literally everything from the moment you're born, crying, etc., and we kind of talked about that. But one of the big things, Christy, that you and I were sharing or discussing and even doing activities around with everyone was about where it doesn't work or where it goes wrong.
Yeah, it comes up, regularly in our lives, those conflicts and disappointments and frustrations and, where the communication's breaking down with, whether it's family or whether it's in the work environment, it's challenging. That's everything.
Yeah, 100%. And look, the reality is it's probably, in my experience anyway, the number one cause for conflict. The number one cause for conflict. Maybe you don't get along with a boss at work or peers at work, or you think that people are, maybe people at work you don't get along with and maybe there isn't a problem from their perspective, or kids are an issue for you, or partners are an issue and things split apart and now you're no longer with them, or, 100% of the time, communication is a major factor in my experience. Would you say it's the same?
100%. It's different ways of communicating and it not meshing, not understanding one another. I think that's where, when you're not being understood, valued and heard, it's got to be the biggest part of making you feel just not worthy. When you're not seen, heard and valued.
Why can't I get this right? Why is this not working? Yeah. What don't I see here, right?
Yeah, it's big. It's so big. Every client that I speak with, that's our goal, is just that validation of who we are and people understanding what we're about. And yeah, it's really a big problem.
Now, how many classes at school did you go to about communication?
0.
Oh, me too. Right? So
wow.
We're not being taught that this is what goes on, and we're not taught about the different styles of how people do communicate and interact. And so we're blindly going out there, which is inevitably going to lead to differences of opinion, let alone values and beliefs and everything else that we go through in Secret Sauce. Just the fundamental communication, and we're going to end up with conflict unless we understand what's going on, how people are different to us, and where we can find the magic thing that changes everything, and that's some level of common ground.
Yeah, absolutely. And that can only come from being more aware of who you are as a communicator and understanding your strengths and weaknesses so that you can show up differently for the people around you that are important to you. And just because they're not like us doesn't mean that they're not worthy of your time and effort. It's so important for that person, if you want to show up with quality relationships in your life, that you know how to show up for others. And then you teach them how they need to show up for you through boundaries and things like that.
Well, it's because it's so easy just to judge someone and then write them off as in not worth your time because they think differently. And I call out a few examples in my life that I've experienced where it's been similar like that. But the truth is, imagine upon reflection of all the conversations or all the interactions or even the emails that have gone out, that upon reflection, if you had known how that person would receive it and you were able to deliver it in a way that they would have received it the way you really meant it, what kind of difference would that have had in that relationship, in that professional environment, in the outcome that was achieved, if we just kind of knew what we didn't know then? or maybe still don't know now. But imagine what the difference might be if it didn't work and it blew up and it led to a separation or a breakdown or whatever it might be. Imagine if we got it right because we knew how to say what we wanted to say to that person in a way that they would receive it, that meant something to them.
Yeah, absolutely. It would be quite a game changer in terms of our positive experiences and interactions with people. And I think when we go through and break down communication is such a big topic, but when we break it down into the layers where we can actually understand how things can go wrong, how we can improve, then your life essentially will change. Because it's 93% of everything that we, well, no, 100% of everything we do, but 93% of it is actually not the communication of our words. It's also our body language and our tone and our physiology. Like, everything is a big part of how we communicate. So when our words and our actions aren't matching, then, you know, our interactions are going to be hindered because that person's not going to trust what we're saying because we're not matching. So that internal look at yourself and how you show up is huge.
Absolutely massive. Absolutely massive. And you said it yourself. It's a game changer if you get this right. And there's no mistake that that's the name of this group. This is about game changers, about things that are going to turn the dial and making life the way you actually want it to be. But you got to have that awareness in the first place. So if you're one of those people who's out there where communication isn't your strong suit, get curious about it. Do a little bit of investigation. Come and join us in Secret Sauce. We're going to have a new intake coming up in August if you're interested in doing that. And you can reach out to Chrissy and I individually to do that. But if it's a problem for you, if you find that it keeps showing up as a challenge for you, it's not simple to understand the principles behind how to do it more effectively. What is challenging is then putting it to practice. And that's obviously part of the whole journey of life and always be growing. You've got to keep at it. Otherwise, you're going to end up with the same results if you don't change anything. Right. So big session today though, yeah?
Yeah, and I love that we can give tools and strategies for people to walk away with and actually, challenge themselves to do it a little bit differently to perhaps what they've been doing to get better outcomes. And, that's the best part. It's such an interactive learning space that, you can sort of see it all resonating and working for them and their personal journey.
Yeah, 100%. And if anyone who is watching this replay or live with us now, which I can't see on the screen, if you would like us to share with you the link to do your own DISC personality profile, just drop us a DM and we'll give you the link so you can actually do it. So you can at least understand how you communicate. What is your way of communicating? It's a really interesting thing to do, even if you've done it in the past, because these things do evolve and change as we grow as human beings. So if that's something you're interested in and just want to, it's a free thing. All you got to do is just go through and answer some questions. Find out where you're at. So you've at least got that first thing right of your own personal awareness. How do I communicate? And now that I know that, maybe does that open my thinking to how I might better communicate with others? So if you want that, reach out to Chrissy and I, and we'll happily give it to you as well so that you can at least get a head start on understanding the best ways to get effective communication happening for you as well.
Absolutely. Because what you think your style of communication is can often be quite different when we do things like this. So it's quite a fascinating process for sure.
Yeah, 100%. So get involved either way.
Awesome.
Rock and roll, guys. We'll see you soon.
Bye for now. Bye.
Bye.